And that, Buck fans, is the best thing that we had the entire evening. I kind of wanted to start it off with something nice because we all know the outcome, despite that wonderful, beautiful, spectacular throw and catch by Mike Evans, who shitted on sucker ass Marshawn Lattimore the whore. But we didn't get the results, and we got a lot of shit to talk about because I'm just glad it's Wednesday because I couldn't talk to you yesterday, and I damn sure wasn't going to talk to you on Monday. But welcome to another episode of Bucs Report, the Aftermath 102.9, the Game Broad Street South Radio. It's one of your hosts, AJ. Turn up and house. We got Coach Slick in the house. Just we got a lot of shit to get out there. And for anybody out there that's a Bucs fan, please share it in the comments. Share your pain. Share your frustration. And most importantly, share your plans. Man, Slick. It was needless to say, we know which side of the ball was the reoccurring theme. We know.
I'm interested in this one because I've done some notes, so I'm ready to debunk you on some things. So we're gonna get to the nitty gritty on this because I love it when I'm not saying that one particular. I thought both sides were poor. Personally, I think when you break down, I've got down here on my notes. There were 5 mistakes by the defense, and there were 5 mistakes by the offense.
There were. I will say this: the defense had more critical fuck ups than the offense. A lot of people want to talk about that fumble. If you go back and look at the clock, Buck fans, it was 11 minutes left. It had shit to do with that. Was it a grave mistake? Absolutely. If you want to say that was a factor, I do not argue with you on that because it was. But the key factor, hell no. We fucked ourselves in the first half, defensive-wise, in my opinion, because I have never seen such a sorry, sad sight of no kind of preparation, no kind of aggressiveness that was necessary to get this fucking guy off the field. You had one job, Bowles. You did it a little good, a little decent, but when it was crunch time, you fucked it up again because you lacked the aggression. And the biggest thing, you lack adjustment and changing your ways. You pulled this bullshit on us again, and you lied to us. And unfortunately, this theme right here is the epitome of what we go through. That shit right there. I thought we were over this, Bowles. I thought that we had a conversation that shit is illegal. I thought that you were going to be extra aggressive. I thought you were going to try to get the 3 and outs so this offense can thrive. This offense takes rhythm and it takes time. And by the time we could get the rhythm going, it was too late. Bowles, you see what happens when that adjustment shit is too late? You failed us. Go ahead, Slick. I know you got certain things you want to say.
Well, what is it about the defense that particularly pissed you off, other than cushion coverage? Because I know we all know how AJ feels. So let's get into that. So
that was the worst thing. That was the worst thing because if you look at it, every time on third downs or fourth downs, especially up the middle, it was getting shredded. But that was because the corners. If the corners would at least have played more man, Jaden Daniels would have been forced to take off where we would have been able to stop him because he only ran for like 30-something yards. However, they were killing us.
But they were crucial downs that he ran on. So like I've said to you before, like you can have a team that doesn't run the football particularly great in yardage, But if they run the football well in certain down and situations, then it doesn't really fucking matter. But if you're running touchdowns and you're converting fourth downs and you're converting third downs, it's kind of what you want your run game to do anyway. It's kind of doing its job, right?
Exactly, and that is what was devastating because it was a flaw. The middle wouldn't have been open slick. Hey, maybe just drop one safety down. You know, a guy named Antoine Winfield out there, he can help you. He can cover more ground. Well, you know, AJ, what about that one deep pass that Dane? It fucking happens when you play man. Other coaches do the shit all the time. You don't go from that. If anything, a corner can learn from that and say, okay, what did I do to get beat this way? So now I can learn. You can't do that with zone. All you're praying to God is that your pass rush gets there, and we didn't have one. It was getting a little better, but at the end of the day, they caught us. They caught this Bucs team with their pants down as usual. The defense didn't step up. The defense was again piss poor, and I was just done. I was done with this defense by the first half. I said, geez, if this offense doesn't come out and be a fucking juggernaut, we're screwed. And for a lot of people out there, well, AJ, you don't put the same kind of pressure and expectations on the offense. Yes, the fuck I do. But the biggest difference, the offense is what got our asses into the playoffs. Defense was supposed to fucking win us the championship. The offense can't do their job all the time. They can't be perfect all the time. When's the last time this defense actually won a game? I tell you when. Week 2. Week 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Buck fans, for all you bowl guzzlers out there, week 2. Week 2, y'all. Everybody evolved from then except Bowles. Well, I saw certain things, and I just thought that I gotta continue to do the same shit. You know, I know people say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, but that's me, and I'm gonna have to live with that. But I can do that because I got us to another NFC South division title. Yeah.
I'll always love it. So I'm going to go down the thing. So one of the criticisms I've seen, I haven't heard you say it yet, but is the fact that the Buccaneers didn't make the Washington Commodores or Commanders, whatever you want to call them, punt. However, they did get turnovers and downs. I don't think this is a team that was willing to punt the ball. Of course, they got deep into our territory every single time, which is the problem. If on paper, and if you look at it just from like, we're obviously nitpicking, we're looking at every little thing, it was a good competitive game. If you look at the stats, other than time possession, they are pretty neck and neck with each other. They've got slightly more passing yards, we've got more slightly rushing yards. In just a nutshell, it was like a super competitive game. It wasn't just that fumble. There was actually another one that Graham Barton owned up to. If you watch the play just before we kicked the field goal, which should have been a go-ahead touchdown, you can see that it took ages to get the handoff right. And I believe Barton's come out and said that he fumbled the snap, or he bobbled the snap, or the snap wasn't right, or he didn't get the snap count right, or something of that nature, which forced everything to go pear-shaped. That's 2 major blunders, and that's one of them's in the red zone. You can't do that, and you can't do it when you're backed up. I'm not saying either side was particularly good. I think the defense was meh, is the best way I could describe it, because they only gave up 23 points, and that was one of them was a go ahead field goal to win the game, and the offense didn't score enough. We all talk about where we thought the scoreline was going to be, we all said the Washington Commanders were going to probably have around 20-ish points, but we would have 30. But we didn't get the 30. We got 20. So it's for our predictions. I think I had them at 23. I think you had them in the I had them at 28. I think you had them at 30. I think someone else had them at another person had them at late 20s or 30s, and they didn't do that. And there was 2 they are game killers. However, and I will say this against the defense, there was one drive, it took them 9 minutes before Washington Commanders scored. That's 9 minutes of real estate that the offense can't do nothing with, because there's no time, right? So we go down and get a field goal. For the most part, I'll go down and break it down to the drives. Field goal, Buccaneers. 3 minutes 50-49. Turnover on downs, 3 minutes 49. We get a punt. We put out after 4 minutes 2. They get a touchdown, 9 minutes and 8. We get a touchdown in the space of and they also get a field goal, 5 minutes and 28 seconds. We get the go ahead touchdown. We get a touchdown to tie the game at the half at 10-10. We get a touchdown. They get a field goal. They're around about the same. The fumble, we only took 2 minutes off the clock. So you can see quite quickly there the two things that didn't go our way kind of crippled the time that we had in possession. So for me, I'm pointing fingers at everyone. Bowls weren't great either. You got a great picture of that cushion coverage in the end zone.
I sure do.
Yeah, bring it up.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was the one right here this is why I put everything on the coach, because you are supposed to be a defensive-minded mastermind. People love stroking him about, well, look what he did against the Chiefs. Okay. He had to have the great pieces, and he didn't adjust. Look at this fuck shit right here. Look at that bullshit. That is the worst type of coverage. That was a disgusting coverage. Why? You have a backup in. There is no reason to make a corner play back up the play, trying to play like a starter. Let him play the basic package. At that moment, you want that man locked up on him on a 4th down, mind you, to try to at least push him to the outside, because there's not that much space, so he can't do a slant in the middle. And that's all he did, basically. That's what he did. If you
what's going to kill this? 100% every single time, it's going to be a slant. Yeah. Every day, even if you did a 0 slant, he's catching it where the D lineman's ass is, right?
Yep.
And obviously the D lineman's going forward, so the D lineman wouldn't be there anymore. That's if he literally just went, whoop, got it out super quick.
Yep, that's it.
This was the one that pissed me off the most, because that's not setting up your team for success. The only way I see this working is if you see the guy with the sleeves next to the corner. He comes driving. He jumps the route and picks it off. That's the only way. But I believe he just sat in coverage. He sat in coverage.
He sat in coverage. This was a time where if you want to blitz with him, Bowles, by all means. But if you blitz with him, you have Hayes play man press coverage.
Yeah, you can't, because you can't. You're going to put him on his. He's all on his own if he's in zone. He's all on his own. And I know that sounds crazy just because it rhymes, but it's kind of no man's land because of the separation. I mean, there's only 5 yards, but you want them around about 3. You want them just after the yellow line, and then you want him to be inside a little bit more, so that slant is completely off. So all he has to do is just drift upfield, so he can push him out.
That's all you have to do. It's common sense. This was basically
that for me was the one that I was like, "Fuck's sake, bros! Like, are you fucking kidding me?" What down marker was this on?
This is 4th down.
4th down. This could have been the defensive play of the fucking game that finishes the game for us, and we win.
That's my point. If the Bucs stop them right here, but then again, here's another thing. I want Coach Slick to see my face on this one. You already know that Hayes was getting burnt. If we go back and look at the fucking Saints game, that's who got picked on the most. So, Bowles, again, have your backups just play the basic package, not a zone scheme, nothing complex. Put it this way: if we're gonna lose, we lose going down fighting.
I think he plays his own scheme because he doesn't trust them. And I'm not making that. I'm not saying that that's it, because I don't know, but I think he plays this cushion coverage when he doesn't trust his corners, which he clearly doesn't. Which means there's got to be a level of trust in Zion to a degree, because Zion stepped up a lot this year, and I do think he's been a much better corner. Like, he's been very, very good. To elevate where his play is gone, where it was last year to where it is now, he has definitely kind of drummed it up. Hayes, I think he's a capable backup. I just don't think he's good. I just don't think he's very good.
He's not good, but at the same time, when someone isn't that good and you put them in a worse situation, that speaks volumes on your decision-making, coach. So for people to say, well, look at what he had to work with, at the same time, you do what you do best. Dan Campbell.
Here's my thing then. Put that up for me again, that picture.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm just going to go with a different package you could have played in this situation. Have him play. We're going to go Tampa 2. We're going to go Tampa 2. He's going to press the corner and push him on with inside leverage, and he's going to push him outside to where the safety can pick him up. The slant's cut off, which means he can't run his route anymore, and you still go into zone coverage. There are other zone coverages that might have worked better in this situation. I just don't think that this was the right situation to play some bullshit cover 3.
No, it was a bullshit.
Not versus and cover 3 versus trips is never fun.
It's stupid. And here's another one that drove me bunkers, that fucked me up. This bullshit right here. That fucking space. All that space.
You've got to tighten up in the red zone. You can't allow a free, because all it takes is one missed tackle. It's a touchdown. You can afford to be that. I won't say risk because there's no risk in it. You can afford to be that vanilla inside your own half, inside their half. The moment it gets beyond, once you get into field goal range, that's when your coverage and your alignments need to tighten up a little bit more, because you don't want them gaining any more yards because they can start kicking field goals, which they just chip away at your lead anyway.
Yep. Look here. First things first. The only linebacker that would have been in fucking coverage would have been Levante David. Those two linebackers.
He ain't covering no wide receiver.
Well, I'd put the safety down. 21, Edwards would have been in the box. Edwards would have been in the box. And also, Dean would have been further down. All that space. Zion would have been further down. Most importantly, why the fuck didn't he have Zion on Terry McLaurin? That's their best option. You should have had your best corner on him.
Which part of the game was this? So which quarter are we in?
This was the second quarter.
Second quarter. It depends on how he views Dean. But Dean's just come back from injury, so I don't know if you could elevate him to like the guy. You know what I mean? Even if he is quote unquote the de facto cornerback 1, he's still coming off a knee injury. He's not going to be like 100%.
Oh yeah, he wasn't, and he's another one that he needs to get cut. But we'll save that for later. Dean, you some shit, and I said that. But anyway, this was some pussy coverage. There's no aggressiveness. I'm going to tell you this right now. You know why Detroit will beat the Commanders slick? Because all Dan Campbell is going to do is look at this shit and be like, yeah, we're not doing that bullshit, y'all. And they're going to say, give a big shout out to AJ Turnip and Slick. They know their shit. We might give them a call, because this shit right here, here's what I'm doing. If I have 2 linebackers maybe back in coverage, that other linebacker I'm going to have the other linebacker blitzing on the outside, screaming towards Daniels, and have the safeties in that box. You're not going to throw it over our heads. You're not. You're going to look for a short pass. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. But again, that's why I said on the critical situations, he let us down. Now,
here's the thing I would like to add, and I think this is something where you can use your cushion coverage, because it has been a bit of a weakness. This is how you can turn weakness into strength. Yes. Just like I said in the last picture that you put up, not the one you just put up, the one before that. You don't need to put it up again. It's cool. By having somebody jump the route, because you know that they're going to complete something quick in there, you instantly make your weakness your strength, because you won't be able to do it all the time. But you can go, okay, they're in this thing. We're going to call our normal cover. We're going to call our cushion coverage. They're gonna check to something really quick. We're gonna make that slant look like it's wide fucking open, and then a guy's just gonna fucking appear like fucking magic. And we're picking it and we're driving it down the field. That's when you can go, okay, we're gonna show you one thing, and they go, they're gonna do that bullshit cushion coverage again. Watch this. Oh fuck, it's a pick 6. That's the kind of thing you got to do. You've got to show one thing and deal another thing, but you've shown that coverage, and there is no 1-2 punch to it. It is just one coverage, and it's all it can do. It is a prevent coverage, and it's a prevent coverage that everyone takes advantage of with their quick game. And you can't do that in the fucking red zone. You can't be. What's the one thing you're going to go to? You go to the quick game. No one's running no fucking long developing routes in the red zone. Your quarterback's going to get popped. There's not enough space. That's why it's the fucking red area. You've got, from the 5, you've got 15 yards of space. It sounds like a lot, but it really isn't to squeeze crossing routes and deep routes and comebacks. None of that shit can work. It's all been, the route trees have all been minimized to a certain amount. they're going to be quick hitting, quick play. So you get in and get out. None of them are going to be plays that are going to take time to develop, because you asking your quarterback to get popped, which means you're going to not potentially make the next goal. How much harder is it to go if you're at the 5 and it's second and 5 and you get sacked and now it's now 3rd and goal, but you've got 13 yards to go. You're going to just kick a field goal.
You're going to kick a field goal, and but again, the lack of aggression. Again, this was the entire theme of the defense the entire night. For the most part, they got a little bit of pressure. One of the best things that I saw that Bowles did, what the player did, is when Zion knocked Jaden on his ass, and yet that was the time where they should have been attacking. That is the time for the next play. You do an all-out blitz to assert yourself and get him out of his shit. But no, he continued to play soft. And unfortunately, him playing soft was terrible. And the reason why a lot of people are probably going to say, well, AJ, when are you going to talk about the offense? We'll get to that. Right now, it's this fucking defense, because it's the theme of the defense that's been killing us, Coach Slick, as we've been talking about this entire season. This was where Bowles was supposed to change that shit. This is where Bowles should have understood. If you see that Kingsbury and Quinn are going for it, why shouldn't we be aggressive? You were supposed to make them pay for that. At that point, when we stopped them on one of the early first downs, that is a fourth downs. That's when we should have been, okay, guys, they want to play like that. We're going to go all out and fuck them up. Again, the middle of the field kept getting open because they had a lot of guys backing up in coverage. And for people out there, Slick has said this for a long time, cornerback is the second hardest position. And mind you, you have a running quarterback that they still had to mind the entire night. Think of the pressure on those corners where it's like, oh, shit. Despite that I got to watch my receiver, I also got to make sure that Jaden doesn't run down the field on us. And now I
think that's why sometimes you do go to a zone coverage, because zone coverage you have eyes on quarterback. But in red zone, I think you've got to play more man anyway, because I think it's just built that way.
Yes.
Yes.
It was, but now if we're going to go on the offensive side,
do you mind if I just finish off my the things that he did and the things that they didn't do? So
please.
Positive turnover on downs. In the first turnaround, they got 2 turnovers on downs. Credit to them, really good football by them. Bad point. Second on the second drive, 9-yard pass on 3rd and 6. They allowed a 9-yard pass on 3rd and 6.
That with Eckler, that took my soul out. I kid you not, because how the fuck do you? And then again, what was it, Slick? Missed tackles, and wasn't finishing on 3rd and 6. Everybody should have been in the box, because you should have expected, hey, this is a 2-down territory. So let's just say if they get a short pass, God forbid they do, but hey, at least it'll be like a 4th and 3 instead of a 4th and 1. Nope. What does he do? He backs them up. And I think, who was it that missed the tackle? I think it was one of the corners or one of the safeties. Who was it?
It's one of the safeties. I think it might be Edwards.
It was Edwards. Because you know why, Slick? What do we always say? Well, it's a little hard to tackle a running back or anybody like that when you're 8 fucking yards off of them. If he at least been 5 yards off, he might have been able to wrap up. That was probably the game sealer right there when Eckler got that 3rd and 6, because people said, well, AJ, what about the Jaden Daniels first down? I said, no, it was over by then, because if the Bucs would have gotten that stop on 4th down, if they would have stopped Eckler right there, let's say they stop him at that spot, it's a 4th and 6 and you can call a timeout. That actually might make, they probably would have went for it, but that would have put a lot more pressure on them. They might have just kicked the field goal at that point.
They had options to kick field goals. I'm telling you, if we would have won this game for the sake of argument, they will be sitting there going, fuck, we turned down 6 points at some point. It's a point, and potentially if you include that one to be even more. So the next one I got is flag on Zion McCullum, defensive holding. We can argue about referees, but it's still a call that got called. 5-yard penalty on 3rd and 4. So another 3rd down that was kind of just given to them.
Yes.
No turnover on downs in the second quarter. Jamal Dean, flag for holding, 5-yard penalty. 14-yard pass to Zach Ertz on 4th and 5. 14 yards. That's unacceptable.
Up the middle. Up
Yeah.
the middle. That was up the middle. Dude, if you come on in here, dude, and I'm glad dude is gonna be in here because I gotta show some shit that is going to be the recurring theme of the Bucs. And you got a drink in your hand that's good, Slick, because you're gonna need a drink after I show you this shit. But when it comes to the offensive side too,
I'm still going, brother. I'm still going.
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay. And these are negatives as well. So defensive pass interference, Zion McCullum on 3rd and 10.
Yes.
Now we can argue about referees, but it still got called. 3rd and 6, a 21-yard pass completion.
Yes.
On 3rd and 6. There were two. I'd say that my theme for the defense was there were too many times that they had the offense dead to fucking rights, and they give up explosive plays. Not like if it were a 3rd and 6 and they gain 6 or they gain 6 or they gain 5.5 and then they just fucking quarterback sneaked it. I could live with that more than I'm going to live with you're giving up 21 yards. We shouldn't be giving up 21 yards on 3rd down. It just shouldn't happen.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Those were back-breaking plays. Like you said, those were plays that kept the Bucs defense on the field. The frustration grew. You could kind of see it in Levante's face that shit, like he had the level of urgency. Everybody else was just still trying to figure out how to get the hell out of the way. And another thing is you see the aggression for the Commanders. Kingsbury had a plan. He didn't want to be in a shootout with us. He said, let's keep the offense off the field as much as possible. And Bowles should have recognized that. At that point, if I was Bowles, I told you this, like, you know me, man would have been played 70% of the night. Why? Motherfuckers would have been rotating in and out, as we said. Mm-hmm. And then where was the overload blitzes that you called, Slick? I didn't see enough. I saw it maybe like 3 or 4 times.
It was a couple of times. It was a couple of times.
A couple. It should have been, okay, we're overloading blitzing this motherfucker, but here's the difference. We're going to put different players in now. So now your line has to try to adapt to everybody's different style. That wasn't the case. Why are you backing off? Don't worry about Jaden running, because as we can see, when he got hit, he wised up. I think after that Zion hit, he was just like, yeah, coach, let's work some shit out, because I got fucked up on that play. Because when he was bleeding, I said, good. I want him to learn his lesson. See, I couldn't have been a player out there, Slick, because I would have gotten in Jaden hit. I'd have been like, yeah, bitch, run that shit again. Run if you want to. I don't give a fuck.
I'm pretty sure someone probably did it at some point. And he didn't need to, because we gave him open shots. And
yeah, we gave him open shots. And we look, this
he did that cliche of take what the defense gives you.
Of course. And that's why I tell this to Commanders and Buck fans. It was the Bucs that lost the game. It's not the Commanders that won it, because as much as we fucked up on both sides, Slick, it came down to the last minute. That is
they didn't really have any catastrophes on.
No.
The biggest play calling blunders you could probably call with the is them going for it on 4th down too many times.
Right, that's it, and that's all you.
But that seems to be part of their identity, and I think they kind of live with that. They'll live and die by that. But I do think at some point they will come undone, because guess who used to do that? Detroit. And then they came up against a team that was that immovable object that's not as easy to pull those off, and they made you pay. The Buccaneers damn made them pay for it. They would have done it a couple more times. They'd have fucking absolutely spanked their ass.
That's what I've been trying to tell people, and that's what's frustrating. I said, if the Bucs literally 2 times,
Slick, hey, I've given you a we've got a pass, a 9-yard pass on 3rd and 9. I can live with that one to a degree because it's only 9 yards, but it's still it's not great. Zion McCullum, the flag on Zion McCullum, that was 3rd and 4. That's 2 third downs we're going with here. Then we got defensive holding. I don't know what down that was on. Then you got the 14-yard pass to Zach Ertz on 4th down. That's you stop that pass, it was probably game over. That's deep into the second half, and then you got another DPI by Zion McCullum, 3rd and 10, and that was the one that pretty much pushed them to the goal line. And then you got a 3rd and 6, 21-yard pass completion. If you take away those, and those end up being either under the yardage to gain, or they were incomplete passes, or what have you, you're talking about a totally different game. You're probably talking about a team getting absolutely whooped.
Yes.
And even if they only did it to 2 of those, it could completely change the mindset.
Just 2 of those, Bucs walk away with 10 points. They wouldn't. I don't think they get 14. But
simple enough just to say they will win. However much it doesn't, I'm not there for debating, but we would have won the game.
We would have won the game. We would have won the game. But again, Coach Bowles coached like a baby back bitch. With that, dude, I think we've said what we was gonna say on the defensive side. Dude, go on in here, bring that whistle in, and let your presence known.
See if you can fix the screen. Nope.
Burn it down!
All right, that was a little too long of an intro.
I mean, you did milk the fucker there, but it's all you, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
No. This is all about you. But hey, Bucs fans, season's over, right? I want to throw a little nugget out here and let everybody chew on it. We heard and we pounded on this as part of the holding people accountable with this organization, that the whole Tom Brady era, that was changing the culture and raising the bar, and we're going to continue that bar being raised after Brady left, and that's the standard. So here's my question. Todd Bowles is 1-3 in the playoffs as the Buccaneers head coach. Yep. 1-3. Tony Dungy was 2-4 in the playoffs as the Buccaneers head coach. Tony Dungy got fired for going 2-4.
In the playoffs.
Why is it so weird to talk about Todd Bowles being let go for going 1-3? I'm pretty sure 1-3 is a worse winning percentage than 2-4. So we put that out there. People get all upset, but they don't realize Tony Dungy was fired in the middle of the night in a rainstorm after going 2-4 over a 6 or 3 or 4 year period. But yet, if we mention the same about Todd Bowles, suddenly we're haters or we're pushing an agenda, and that's not where we're at. So here's where I want to go with this. Is Todd Bowles a better long-term candidate and potential for this organization than Tony Dungy was?
I think they're about the same.
Okay, that's fair.
It's difficult because I do generally like Coach Bowles. You can clearly see that the players like playing for Coach Bowles. But when I look at things and I go, what is the ceiling that Coach Bowles could pull for us based off his defense alone? Because you've got to remember that the offense was nowhere near as high flying as when with what Coach Bowles has got compared to what Dungy had. Right? It's a completely different offense. We're pretty much an offensive juggernaut. He didn't have an offensive juggernaut,
and yet he was still fired.
He was fired because the Buccaneers felt that there was a change to be made. The only difference I would say, and this is where I would say, as much as we're on this conversation, there is nobody like Gruden that's available at that point in time.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
Let me throw this in. Nobody like Gruden. If you're mentioning saying that in regards to by name recognition, sure. But if you check the sheet, as our famous former quarterback Jameis Winston once said, Liam Cohen's offense is way better statistically than John Gruden.
Offensive coordinator. He doesn't have an MVP quarterback. and he hasn't just won multiple playoff games. There's a big, and he hasn't already
Whoa. I'm talking about John Gruden. John Gruden never had an MVP quarterback in Tampa. He had Brad Johnson
when he was in the Raiders, right? That's what I'm going.
I'm not. I'm just saying
you're comparing a guy of like who you're going to.
This is where the conversation gets diluted, though. I don't give a fuck about the Oakland Raiders. We're talking about Tony Dungy's time as a Tampa coach.
We hired him based on what he did at the Raiders, not what he did at Tampa, because that would be looking into the future. And at the last I checked, we don't have a crystal ball.
Right, but we can go back and look at what Dungy did. And he was 2-4 in the playoffs and was escorted out of the building.
I agree. I'm saying is Liam Cohen's not John Gruden in this situation. He's an offensive coordinator. He's an offensive coordinator that's on our books. It's a completely different situation. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that doesn't take any relevance to the point, because we're getting in the weeds talking about the coaches before they were here. If we're talking about the coaches before they were here, Todd Bowles should never have a fucking head coaching job. Hard stop. So I guess my point is, if we raise the standard, why aren't we executing the standard? Meaning 2-4 wasn't good enough. And now you have an offense that's top 5 and you're 1-3, but that's okay. We're going to let them slide because of, I don't know, salary cap reasons or dead money. There's always an excuse. But the reality is, there are 8 other teams in this league, half of which are still in the fucking playoffs, that have more dead cap money this year than we do. So at what point do excuses just become that? The reality is, as a Buccaneer fan, do you have more belief when Tony Dungy was the coach or Todd Bowles? Do you think Todd Bowles deserves more leeway than Tony Dungy got? And why are we having this discussion if we supposedly raised the bar significantly since Tony Dungy in that era, which we supposedly have? So if the bar is raised, but you don't execute holding accountability to that bar, how can we possibly move forward? In other words, tell me, with everything that went on this year, on the coaching side, on the field, whatever, does anybody on this screen think that there needs to be no changes to the coaching staff at all? Nothing needs to change. We're going to stay status quo and do exactly what we did this year, and we're going to have a better result next year. That's literally the definition of insanity.
Fuck no. Well, because here's the thing, Dude and Slick, we can all look at this. You know what franchise did that this year, fellas? And it fucked them royally. I enjoyed it, but it fucked them good. The Dallas Cowboys. They were the same organization that thought, we don't need to get players. We don't need to make these moves. We're good at what we are, and it fucked them royally. But Slick, let me talk to you about Dungy and Bowles. The biggest difference is that Dungy actually kept his end of the bargain up as a defensive-minded coach. Now, I'll say this, Slick, but this is why we're saying this, because each season, Bowles' defense has gotten shittier and shittier. With Dungy, the defense, you know why Dungy's defense was good? Because people, the next thing people say, well, AJ, he did have Derek Brooks and Warren Tapp and Lynch and all them. He did. But another thing that, why they were so good, Dungy played to their strengths. Like you always say, Slick, you play to your coaches, your players' strengths. Warren Sapp would not drop back in coverage. Like he's not gonna do that shit to Sapp or anything. He got shit done. The biggest problem was that Dungy's, like Bowles, in a way, you didn't hold your certain other side to the same standards. And Dungy is a beloved figure because of what he's done. He designed, as what we know as the Tampa 2. What the fuck has Bowles designed or developed?
And I'll piggyback off of AJ here, and I'm not coming at anybody. Hell, the 2 guys on the screen, if I was a girl, I'd probably date them. That said, Tony Dungy, yes, walked into a great situation with Sapp and Brooks already here. People don't realize Dungy didn't draft those. Sam Weiss did. Okay? He built and executed the Tampa 2 to what we all know and love in the half the league, if not more, tried to copycat that. Okay? But he also developed players. Remember, Rondé Barber was a mid-round pick who didn't even start except for special teams the first year he was there. Dungy single-handedly developed that man into a Hall of fucking Famer. John Lynch was waffling between a baseball career and playing football, and Dungy sold him and developed him, right? James Canada, Greg White, Greg Spires, all, and no disrespect, mid-level talent that played at an exceedingly high level under Dungy. Now stop, and you tell me one player on this roster, or that's been kicked off this roster since Bowles has been here, that he has developed and made better.
Woo.
I'll wait.
I would say the only player you can say that to is probably Antoine Winfield,
Who had a horrible season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's be honest. He was plagued by injuries for most of it. But I'm just saying, out of all the players, that's probably the only one I can think of.
And people say, well, Bowles' Super Bowl defense was lights out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And Ndamukong Suh, free agent. JPP, free agent. Shaq Barrett, free agent.
And I'd also
I'd
give Vita Vea the nod here as well.
I would make the argument that Shaq Barrett digressed after his first season in Tampa, that he came here loaded for bear, broke the single season franchise record, and every year his stats got worse and worse. That's the opposite of development. That's not development. That's regression. So my point being here is college football is broken. You're not getting the development of the players from the high school level in college to the pros. You're getting developed in high school and you're getting shipped around like free agents in college. So it's of utmost importance that these coaches in the NFL not only get the right players drafted for them, put them in the right position to win, but develop their strengths and utilize their strengths and work that into the game plan and the whole chemistry of said defense and offense. And the problem is I can't come up with, I'll say this. I think Antoine Winfield was better in 2020 than he's ever been. I think every year Antoine Winfield's gotten a little bit less good. Yes, he's made splash plays, but go look at his sheet. The numbers have gradually gone down. So while I'm not going to say Antoine Winfield sucks, I'm not going to say half these guys suck. They're not progressing. They're not being developed. But now you stop and you think, well, last year, a couple of our wide receivers and offensive players, offensive line weren't doing so well. And then you bring in Liam Cohen. And in the middle of the season, he realized our offensive line is better suited to pound the fucking rock. Let's pound the rock. So let's lean into their strengths. Meanwhile, Todd Bowles is like, yeah, I'm going to drop Vea back in coverage. That's my wrinkle.
I'm done with that, and that's the thing, and that's what we're saying about developing. It's like the simple fact that you had.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I think out of all the players, there's probably only one that, and I'm saying there's only one. Him, you could go him and Vea. They're the only two players that gained something from some Bowles,
right?
As a whole, which isn't a lot.
No, and
which in of itself should be a fireable offense, in my opinion.
With Dungy, we just named all these people because there's another one that you missed out, dude. That was the beast. RIP to him was Stephen White. That's the guy, Slick, when we played in the NFC Championship versus the Rams. The very first play, Kurt threw, he snatched that shit out the air. If you are a defensive-minded coach, I expect the defense to do their fucking job and be dominant, just like we give praises Slick and do to Tomlin. His Tomlin's defense.
But that's where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
How many coaches has Bowles developed? He's been in the league a fair while. He's been in the league since 2000 and
yeah. What's his coaching tree look like? It's a straight fucking twig sticking out of the ground, bro.
You look. You go back and you look at what Tony Dungy's got. I believe his coaching tree's got 2 to 3 Super Bowls.
Oh, absolutely, Tomlin, and then also he still had players like
Smith.
Herman, but he wasn't a champion. But his tree is his Dungy's.
It speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes, and not just the coaches, but the fucking league. The Tampa 2 is iconic, fellas. That's why I fucking love saying Tampa 2, Slick. I'm like Tampa 2, damn it. But with Bowles, we just said that. Why? There's nothing that you have seen, even back in his fucking days when he was with the Jets. He never developed anyone for the most part. And here's another historical fact, Slick, that I think you'll enjoy. Every time the Bucs fire a defensive-minded coach and we bring in an offensive-minded coach, we win. We let go of Dungy. Then Gruden comes in and says, not only that, the defense plays better under Gruden. Then we bring in Arians, and the defense balls the fuck out. Why? Because Gruden and Arians got two things in common. They let their nuts hang low, and they are aggressive. They are like, fuck you. This is my team. I don't give a fuck who's out there. This is Bowles in a nutshell. You'd be like, Slick, I think if you were a defensive coach, hey, I think we need to lock up all the shit you just explained. This is what Bowles would do. Well, guys, I don't want us to get beat like that. Like that's a big if, I don't know. A guy like Gruden be like, man, if you don't get your ass and put that fucking corner on that guy, we've been getting shredded by this zone. Bowles, you keep fucking around. I'm going to sit your ass and you're going to be in the doghouse. If you don't have balls, that is why we lost this fucking game. You see what Kingsbury and them said. They said, fuck our defense, basically. When they went for fourth down, that was the biggest fuck you to our defense. They said, these motherfuckers can't get us off this field. So
and by turn, not going for it on 4th and inches when the Bucs decided not to. Not only are you're not showing a lot of confidence in your offense, you're also saying, well, if we don't make it, I'm not sure if my cushion coverage defense is going to be able to keep them out of the red zone. Oh, wait, we don't have to think. You couldn't keep them out of the red zone at all. A whole game. They lived on the fucking Tampa side of the 50. With all that said, we're still talking about stuff that's way above our head. All right. I'm not gonna dismiss that. Okay. We're talking with a little bit of heart, a little bit of passion. And of course we got we're fans, right? But if you fire someone for being 2-4, why aren't you considering or talking, or is it taboo to talk about firing someone who's 1-3?
I don't think it's taboo to talk about. We're obviously doing that right now, but it all depends on the situation of what's available. What do you want? If it's Liam Cohen and you think Liam Cohen's the answer, then you go down that route. I would say, go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
I would say if Cohen does not get offered a coaching role, I think you stick with it and you turn around to Bowles and say, look, dude, you've had multiple chances. We've given you the best position in football. You inherited a good football team. You did not inherit shit. You've not had to turn around a franchise. This will be your last year if we do not see improvement. And I'm not talking about 1 win in the playoffs or 2 wins in the playoffs. We need to see dramatic improvement in this defense. Otherwise, someone like Liam Cohen's going to leapfrog you, because at the end of the day, we can't keep him forever. We can't keep him as an offensive coordinator. Now, the only reason I like this situation is because it gives you a longer look at Cohen as a coach, and make him your assistant defense, make him your assistant and head coach. That way he can learn whatever he can decide to learn from you. He might learn how not to coach. I don't know. But my point being is let him have more of a say. Let him have a bit more to do in this team. Let his aggressiveness and the way he speaks filter through in this team. That, and for me, I
want to respond real quick to Christopher's comment. If Bowles stays and Cohen stays, I believe that Bowles needs to make some defensive coaching staff some changes, right? Okay. He already said he wasn't. Yep. He already said, we're good. We're good with what we are. Yep. And that alone, with the lack of developing players, a losing playoff record, you have a time ticking on the stars you still do. We always talk about Levante Davis getting up there. They ain't fucking young, bro. And fat guys don't play fucking 15, 20 years. So you've got Mike Evans' clock running. You've got all these people's clock running. You only have so long for some of these young guys who stepped up on offense on their rookie contracts before they want to get paid. Okay, so this is why you strike when the iron's hot. And as far as, I've heard that, and I'm going to go down the excuses. I'm not even talking excuses to the gentleman on the screen. In fact, there's nothing but love here. I'm talking just general idiots out there on the platforms. Well, you can't. Who are you going to find that's better? I don't know. We said that after Arian stepped down. Who's going to run the offense? We found Canales after we fired Leftwich. Who are you going to find that's better than Leftwich? We found Canales. Oh man, Canales left. Who are we going to find that's better? We found Cohen. Way better. And meanwhile, while all the coaches are interviewing, all the potential prospects are looking for a job. We're like, nah, bro, not only are we not going to make a move, but we're good. We're not making a change. Bucs fans, the coach of your team looked at everything that went down this season and said, I'm not changing a fucking thing. Okay, if you win a Super Bowl, I'm good with that. Hell, if you get to the NFC Championship game, I'm good with that. But you haven't made it past the divisional round yet. And I'll say this. There's not another Brady walking in that building that's going to pull you up by your bootstraps and make you win. You've got yourself a gamer in Baker. You've got yourself a top 5 offense. If Cohen would believe in you, he probably would just be like, well, I'm just going to hang out until Bowles retires. He says he's only got a couple more years and I'll take this team over. But the fact that he's interviewing, one, helps his resume, but two, makes you wonder if Liam Cohen's not going, I am expected to score 30 to 35 points a game with this team in order for us to be successful. And I do not know how long that's going to be sustainable. Now, a few things before I jump off here that no one's really talking about. I believe the Kyle Trask era is officially ended in Tampa. His contract is up here when the new league year starts.
Yep.
So poor development on that aspect. But Kyle, thanks for participating. We've got 20 some free agents. People need to be re-signed. Shaq Barrett ain't going to be back. They ain't going to bring him back. All right. So now you've got a defensive coach that says he doesn't want to make any changes on the staff, who already struggles with development, but you all are relying on draft picks to make the change this year coming up. So you think by getting a couple edge rushers, a couple inside linebackers, maybe a corner, that all that shit, we're going to go from 30th defense to a top 15 defense? That's what we're going with. Because he already said we're not changing anything else.
Yeah.
So if I'll say this, Slick, if you go to work every day and they want you to hit 100% of your whatever, and you keep hitting 80, and they say, hey, we need you to hit 100. You're like, right, but I'm hitting 80 and I'm not changing anything. What the fuck are they going to do with you, bro?
They're going to find someone who can do it.
Thank you. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not even going to lead the charge in saying fire Todd Bowles. I'm leading the charge in saying, why are we not even considering it? Why is it taboo? Oh, well, Lavonte David said him and all the defense loves him. All the defensive players love fucking Tony Dungy too. They still do. They talk to him like he's dad. So standing pat, holding them, as if you will, not doing anything to move forward and get better and make improvements on your coaching staff, is the opposite of what any NFL team wants to hear from a coach. I'm on the fence the whole 9 yards because, one, as Slick has brought up, the candidacy pool is a little slim. But when I heard him say, no, there's not one thing I want to change, that's a problem. If I'm the Glazers, I'm like, wait a minute, what? You don't think you need to improve anywhere?
Yes.
So you're good with 10 wins?
Yes.
He's never had more. He's never had more than 10. Is that the ceiling?
That's the ceiling.
And is that what we're accepting?
I ain't accepting that shit. If I'm the Glazers, I think what Slick said was reasonable. If they do keep him and Cohen says, I do want to develop one more year because I want to pull a Ben Johnson and get my resume going. I am the Glazers. This is your last final fucking year, Bowles. And Slick said it. Not 1 or 2 playoff wins, in my personal opinion, is Super Bowl or bust, because now you do have the extra cap money. So what are you going to do in free agency, Bowles? Are we going to go for Myles Garrett's or the Crosbys or the Hendricksons? What are you going to do to establish this fucking defense? And are you going to at least make a few changes to your scheme? Because
and I'm just going to add this. If he doesn't change that defense, if that defensive secondary does not have a little bit of a change, or that pass rush has a significant change, that also means he thinks it's fine.
And that's scary.
And that's a problem, because it's a fucking problem, right? We haven't stopped people scoring as much as we normally do, and we are giving up passing yards like no one's fucking business.
We doing this shit. This dog shit right here. And this is...
That ain't going to win. That will not win. And
this shit right here. This shit is just devastating.
In the fucking red zone.
It's nauseating. And again, I saw guys, football fans out there, Buck fans. I seen Coach Slick call a defense in his championship game. It was fucking marvelous. It was good. You know why?
No passing touchdowns conceded throughout the
Yes.
entirety of the playoffs.
Well, you know what you did, Slick? You played to the best of your players.
We play man in red zone situations.
That's what you're supposed to do. But that shit right here, and this is a professional fucking head coach. This right here should never have happened. This right here,
it makes me sick because I'm saying, like, if you use that as a decoy, we said earlier, if that guy with the sleeves, I don't know who it is from here because obviously the screen's very, very small today. Yeah. He jumps the route and picks that shit off. Woo! But that's what that should be doing. You should be enticing the offensive coordinator, going, "Oh, this is wide open. I've got a touchdown here. Let's call this. Let's do this," and then boom, it's gone.
Again, you're supposed to be a defensive-minded coach. That's why I tell people this: when you are not, that's something you're supposed to. That's like being a fucking history major and you're failing in history. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Really, this is supposed to be your specialty. Mike Tomlin, his defense is always spectacular. It doesn't matter who he's playing with. Is his offense shit? Yes, but that's not just on him. That's his GMs and stuff too. You just said it, Slick, and everybody do. The fucking team has helped you out. The organization, Light, has helped you draft players, got you Cohen. Why is it that both coaches back-to-back years have outperformed him? Why is it that we've back-to-back seasons 4-6? My only fear, Slick, because people say we should give him one more chance. Are you willing to take that risk for a guy who just said, I'm not changing anything? Do you really want to take that risk? That also, like Dude said, if I am Cohen, am I going to be expected to put up those kind of points? And that's an unrealistic thing. I think this might happen, Slick. I do kind of hope, and we make the right move, but I hope Cohen says, hey, I believe that I can get this offense even to a higher level. And I know the right people that's going to help this defense. So I either get the coaching position or I walk. And I'm going with Cohen. I'm like, bye, Bose, get the fuck out. And for people out there in the comments, there's plenty of defensive coordinators out there. Trust me. You don't think Robert Saleh would love to have a Vita Vea, Canty on his roster with White Winfield if he's healthy, with Zion who's going to develop? Shit, the first thing Robert Saleh might do, Slick, is go, hey, let me see you guys in man 70% of practice. Let me see that. Let me see something. And I got a quick little video I want to show you guys for all you Bowls guzzlers out there. Viewer discretion is advised for football fans. Bucs fans, Slick, get your rag and your drink because you might shed some tears. You too, dude. I apologize in advance. It has to be known because these are what we call receipts.
No more will I waste the time. Dirty trail of cash and L. Red road, you get high when I exhale. Jump bell, cause the judge promised my ass jail. West Coast couldn't hide me, the world's an audience. Passed out from the highlight, Martin Lawrence. Had me in the room next to Sarah Connors. But my problem's much greater than any Terminator. Not one visit from fam, just letters from fans. Saying dirt, keep your head up, and fuck getting wetter. The Rock told me to sign on the dotted line. Welcome home, Russell Jones, you've been wasting time. Rocked up a little, bling bling a little. Now every roach in the cracks wanna jump in the act. Every cat in the front got a ride in the back. You fixin' the Ford, I ride a Cadillac. You fixin' the Ford, I ride a Cadillac. Alas, no more will you spit in my drink. No more will you poison me. I'ma climb real high, feel free with the thug inside. No more will I run and hide, wasting time. No more will I chase the drug. No more will I dodge the slug. I'ma climb real high, feel free with the thug inside. No more will I run and hide. No more will I run and hide. No more will I waste the time.
Got him! Got him! All those games we lost.
Hey, I want to point out your all's breakdown of that screenshot. on the goal line there this week when Slick was saying the Buccaneer player there in the sleeves needed to come over a little bit. That was Winfield. He should know better than that, dude.
He just looked fucking lost. Like, how do you not gain any? How do you not? One thing I always say to my guys, right? Okay, it was trips one side and one wide receiver to the other side. How are you not looking at what number one's doing? How do you not have peripheral vision on number one while you're looking at the quarterback? I teach every guy who plays that position, you need to have eyes on the quarterback and peripheral vision on number one. That way you can adjust. You can move to where it is. If he just gains a fucking 2 yards in depth and follows the quarterback's eyes, it's a interception. He goes on a knee, and it's fucking game over there and then. It's
which
done.
Which he did. He did do that in 2020 in the playoffs several times. So it's almost like maybe Winfield wasn't prepared for what they were going to do.
The only thing I'll give Winfield is
he's
been injured. Like,
well, it's a combination of both, but I'm not going to go with the. My thing is when it comes to Winfield, motherfucker, you got the damn bag, and all of a sudden, my knees, my legs, my hands. I better not see that shit next season. Now, I'm trying to give him some great slick, but at this point, if the injury was that fucking bad, you should have went on IR earlier to get yourself together. But the whole point that we saw for you bold acolytes out there, did you not see every fucking game we were missing tackles? Slick, do we have to remind you, people, it's easier when you're this
that one was described everything I've been saying so well. That when a guy's got to come down at full speed, he does not get chance to come to balance before he makes the tackle. And this defense is built on speed. If you tell guys to slow down, guess what our guys are? They're light. We don't have a particularly bulky team. We have light, fast, whippy guys that can get around the field and make plays. That's the whole point of the defense. It's fast. It's the same with it used to be the same with the offense. I changed a little bit because obviously Arians is no longer there. And it's the same with the defense. We have undersized guys or guys who are on the cusp of being at the level. They're either under or at the level. When you require guys to come down and make tackles in space, all it takes is one step to the left, one step, and everyone's going, oh, you should make that tackle. Not when you're going full speed. You have to slow down. You have to slow your momentum down. It's called come into balance when you make a tackle. If everyone could just run in a straight line and make a perfect tackle, trust me, football would be even more exciting. The issue is the faster you go, the less control you have of your body laterally, which means you can't move left and right. It takes longer to move because A, reaction time, B, you are in a path going one way. The only way you're going to do that is by slowing down. And they don't want to slow down because they want to get there quick because guess what? You've just given up a shit ton of real estate because you're playing this off coverage. If they back off, it turns in that yard. He may have tackled him before the line to gain, but I'm telling you, he would have got like 8 yards out of it.
Mm-hmm. And go back to that San Francisco game. Winfield missed that tackle, and it was wide open. Again, this is what we're saying, Buck fans. It's not about us not wanting to fire Bowles. It's what is keeping him here. What do you see to keep him here? What do you see? The defense, again, worse and worse. Don't talk to me about, because here's another thing, Slick. When people say, well, look, he doesn't have the pieces that support him. So you're basically telling me he needs an all-star cast to be a good coach. That ain't a good thing. That's not good. We've seen, look, when it comes to Tomlins of the world, again, yeah, they have J.J. Watt, they have Hayward, maybe Fink, but that's about it. There's nobody else on that team that you can name and say, that dude is a star. It's not about that. It's about putting your players in the best position. You know what the best question that I think that the Glazers and I would love to ask, and I know you would too, Slick, because you've said it before. I'd be like, why do you think zone coverage is the way? I want to know. I want to be like, Bowles, why do you think that's the way to go? Please tell me, because
I'll tell you what I'd add. On that specific play, the one that makes us all stick, the one that you've literally just shown a fair few times with the cushion coverage in the playoff game, is why did you think that would work? Why did you think that it's not the coverage? Because the coverage could probably work if he's even just lower down, you know?
Yes.
Even if he's just like 1 foot before the yellow line, that's got more chance of working. But the problem is you allow this guy a free release, which means his first. Let's have a look. He's there. So if he was running a 5-yard slant, which I believe he does,
yes, he does.
Probably turning upfield around about on the 3-yard counter. He has got a free release and an angled route. It's so hard to defend an angled route because it's so sharp and crisp.
Yep.
I just don't understand. Why in this situation did you feel that would work? Like even I'm sat there going, I don't get it. I like if I was playing off like this and I had no choice, that someone said you have no options, I would probably tell my boy, the cornerback, to just come in another half step, and that way he could seal off the slant a bit easier. But it ain't gonna be fucking easy.
Well, hell. If you feel that, if you're not that confident, fucking double them. That's
my point. Someone handcuffed me and says you have to run this play, but you can adjust where people are.
Double,
right? The coverage is there. I would have Antoine Winfield shoot the gap as soon I'd say to him, like, read what number 2's doing. If you see him flash across you, read that quarterback, read that his arm. When that ball is cut back, fire down into that fucking where that ball is going to be thrown to. But he doesn't gain any depth. He literally just stands there. He stands there, maybe gains a yard, maybe a yard in depth.
I have a question with all my ignorance to scheming. You ready? No, AJ, put that back up. Thank you. We all can see that this is going to be a slant, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Slant is all about timing and getting to the spot and getting the quarterback having the ball there when you make your cut and at that peak or whatever the terminology is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So why the fuck aren't you playing bump and run here? Why aren't you jamming at the line and breaking that timing?
Exactly.
Just think about it. Your pass rush.
Different ways to play a slant, and this is textbook, in my opinion, the wrong way to do it. Unless Antoine Winfield is designed to take away the slant the moment it's thrown. That's the only way this looks like it's meant to work, because it shouldn't. In any sense of the word, you are allowing a guy a free release who's going to cut at an angle upfield, who he's going to catch it probably around about the 2 or the 1, and he literally just got to fall over. It angers me.
And this is what I'll say.
If you're fucking shit over this would fucking drive me nuts.
All right, you can take that down so we can see your pretty faces again. But I guess what I'm trying to go here with is real quick, because I do got to run in about 2 minutes. If they're killing us on the goal line or in the red zone with timing, then why aren't you disrupting the timing? And this is where I have a problem with Bowles. It wasn't Todd Bowles that called out Devin White back in the day for loafing with that C on the chest. It was Warren Sapp, somebody not with the team. It wasn't Todd Bowles that used to come out on the microphone and even called Tom Brady out for fucking up. That was Bruce Arians. Maybe Todd Bowles just doesn't like to hurt people's feelings or doesn't have the balls to stand up and say, you fucked up and I'm putting you on blast. And as much as people don't like that, it worked for Arians. It got us a ring. Hell, Tom Brady heard Arians say that. And what did Tom Brady do? The exact thing he was asked to do by Bowles or by Arians the following game and continue forward. Boom, Super Bowl. So there's not one magic stroke that anybody can fix this with. But if you let a team go constantly, if you run a bend, don't break defense, it only works if you don't break. And what we saw this last week is they broke and broke and broke and broke. And then you line them up on fourth and whatever it was from the 8 or 9 yard line, and you give them a 9-yard cushion. What did you think was going to happen?
I don't understand. I don't get it either. This shit right here is
it's this exact same shit that we've seen
literally
year in year.
easiest
We've seen it
shit.
all year long, but I think it's specific to like situational football, right? So it's a bit like, it reminds me of when we played San Fran, and all they had to do was get into field goal position. And what do? Play prevent defense. They're already at the 50. At this point, any yards they get, there you go. Any yards they get are bonus yards. So why would you just allow them to have it? How much time is on that clock?
41 seconds.
That's 3 plays if they have any timeouts.
They have 1 timeout. That was it. 1 timeout. Slick.
What are you gonna call here? You're gonna call out breaking routes. You're gonna call quick outs. You're gonna call corner routes. Those kind of things that is gonna force. When I watched this play, I was on my way home. I was in the airport, and I just saw this play, and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah, of course. I knew we was going to lose that game.
I don't mind if we get beat because they're better. I don't mind if they get off the line of scrimmage and they wiggle away and they gain that, because that's what you're supposed to do in that situation, in certain situations. But allowing a team free fucking reign, so all they got to do is run the out. That's never going to work.
It's a give me a fucking break moment. I understand, sir. I understand, my brother.
I want this dude to succeed. I really do. Like, I don't ever want to see our coaches leave. I want us to hire guys and they stay and become Buccaneer lifers like Mike. I know that's not realistically possible, but for fuck's sake, Bowles, stop fucking burning yourself.
Yeah, he needs to have this moment right here, Slick. This is what he needs to have.
Listen, we fucked up.
If he were to have that kind of accountability, I'd be like, we're ready. But he's not.
The crazy thing is the recent press release that's come out with Bowles, where he's said that he's not going to get rid of anybody and things like that. He also said in that exact same thing, and this is bipolar. If you want to look at it, look it up if you can find the article. But believe you me, he said we're not changing it. He's not going to change the staff because that staff got them to the playoffs for 3 division titles. That's why he's not changing it. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that at this point. However, he also said there was mistakes made by us as coaches. Well, okay, we'll get rid of the coach that did the most mistakes. Like, what are we doing here? You're in a situation right now, Bowles, where everyone's looking at you for leadership and what can be done better. We know that we had a bad season, and we can't always blame it on cap space and injuries. Nope. We can't because that's part of football, right?
Yep.
There are other teams in the NFL that are in the playoffs right now that have worse cap space than us. There are other teams in the NFL that have worse injuries that are currently in the playoffs.
Yep. So
we can't use that as an excuse anymore. That's not an excuse. And I'm not saying he's not sat there and went, this is why or whatever. But he has said that the coaching needs to be better. Then why aren't you looking at changing any of these coaches? I'm not saying fire somebody. I'm just saying, why aren't you? If I was Coach Bowles and I was asked that question, I said, I need to go and have an intimate review with my coaching staff and find out what we can do better and how we can do it better. And I need to find out if I've got any weak links in my team, because right now it's all hands on deck, and we need to make sure this team deserves to go to a Super Bowl. That's how I would say.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But you also got to be able. You also got to be able to be that harsh person, Slick. Sometimes you might.
I don't think he wants to. I think dude nailed it on the head. I don't. With the comments about, we've never heard Bowles talk any shit about any players. The most he's ever said, there are guys on this team that are still living in the Super Bowl. That's it. That's as far as he went with it. We all kind of guessed that it was Devin White, right? He has never publicly outed him or said, "Oh yeah, he needs to pick up his play. I'm disappointed that he's regressed or what have you." Those kind of conversations haven't happened. That he has not, because someone's asked him, "What do you think of fucking his play lately?" And it's not good right now. We as coaches need to do better coaching him up, and he needs to do better getting better.
Yeah,
that's how I would say it. So someone put the microphone at me and said, "Steve Probert, why is Devin White had a really poor game? What can you attribute to that?" And I said, "I think as we as coaches need to assess why he's failing and help him out there if we can, and we also need to make him realize that he's failing and he needs to do something about it."
That's it. Same. See, you said in such an elegant way. See, I'm the Arian style. Well, there's certain shit that he knows that he got to get on, and we're going to discuss that accordingly privately. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to say, but I will say this: I'm disappointed in his play, but I know he's disappointed in himself. So we are both going to get better on it. But when it comes to his coaching, Bowles, you might have to, if you see a pattern of something with your coaching staff throughout the entire season, at that point, Slick, it'd be different if the guy you worked with maybe 3-4 games, you see, oh, okay, it's up and down. But if you see consistently that for 17, 18 weeks that it's been fuck ups, you got to be okay to say, look, man, we're heading into another direction. It's nothing personal against you, but I have to go my direction. Because I think Bowles needs to understand your ass is on the line as well. Do you want
Oh
to
yeah,
lose your livelihood
the chip's fucking gone, right? He doesn't realize this.
Yes.
By defending one person, I'm not saying it's one guy or whatever, but by defending one person here and there, like, okay, so I believe this is true. This is true, and someone can go look it up. They brought in Dallas's pass rushing expert.
Yes.
Because of the whole Micah Parsons thing. They got Micah Parsons, and that the Dallas front did really, really well that last year. That hasn't happened this year,
no.
Right? It hasn't. We're good in sacks. We're good in hurries. We're not in we're terrible in pressures, and we're terrible in quarterback hit. So we're not pressuring the quarterback. We got hurries. We do well in hurries, and we do well in sacks, which is impressive. I'm actually quite impressed where our sacks stats are, considering how lackluster we are, because it doesn't look that good.
No.
And I think the crazy thing is, I think you get rid of that cushion coverage, and I'm talking, you just put guys at 5, and in short down situations, they come down a little bit more. I think that stat goes up by 10 to 15 sacks.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And that's what we want.
So I think that's all realistically has to change. And unfortunately, he probably has to fire someone just to keep everyone appeased, because at the end of the day, someone suggested that coverage works.
Exactly. And do you want that buddy to fuck your livelihood up? I think not, Bowles. That's how I look at it. We can be buddies, but I need a fucking job, because as a friend, I can recommend you somewhere else at least. But if we both are out on our asses, because either way, Bowles, if you keep this dude and you keep fucking up now, they're going to cancel both of you. They're going to cancel your whole squad. So defensively, we know, Bowles, you're going to have to change something, or we'll change you. Now, offensively, I'm going to just keep it short with this because it's not that much. Cohen, I will say this about Cohen, in my personal opinion, in this game, I think he overthought it again. It kind of gave me a little bit certain vibes of when we played Carolina the first game and how we played the Saints. Sometimes I don't give a shit, Slick, if you load the box. If I know I got Bucky, Sean Tucker, and Rachaad White, I'm still going to run that fucking rock down your throat. And if I'm going to change the play to something, I'm going to change it and keep it simple. Keep it simple. There were too many times, in my personal opinion, Slick, the ball on offense was not ran enough. I would have ran the ball down their fucking throat. You could see Bobby Wagner wasn't that much of a threat. Run the rock. And if you don't have to run it up the gut, get some toss plays going. Run to the outside. Run between the C gap. Because a lot of times I saw them running the A and B. Run to the C. You have Tristan Wirfs for a reason, who was getting the edge. You have Gedeke. Run the ball.
I think in the second half, the run was actually really coming on.
Yeah, they should have.
In the first half, it was really hard to get yards through the run, but we stuck at it. With that first touchdown we got in the second quarter, that was a lot of fucking carrying by Bucky to get. Well, he got the touchdown, right? That is his touchdown, I believe. Mike Evans got the last one of the quarter. He gets the second one, which is in the second half. The run game was hot enough. So I don't know why they went away from it. Now I don't dislike the touch. This is where the fumble that we gave up. This is where I'm interested. Whose fault technically was it? Because was it the snap? If the snap's too late, then it's going to be hard to hand it off, right?
Yeah.
Second step, was it Baker? Did Baker get the snap and he just took too long? There's a question to be asked. I tell you one person that ain't on, McMillan. He's going to run that the way he runs that every time. He can't fucking change speeds. The moment you slow down for a fucking one of those, you're going to get smacked in the mouth. He can't, you can't slow down on that.
I know.
He can't, fucking still dicking around with it. What should have happened, I would assume, and I don't know this because I've never been that part of the offense. I will ask our offensive coordinator because we do have that as a package within our team. Is if the guy is in front of you and you're handing the ball off, what do you do? What is there something you practice and you preach and you teach your guys? Like if a guy's got his shoulder in and you're like, I can't get this to him, do you just pull it and just loop round? Or there's got to be something. There's no way, because that could happen. So you've got to play to that eventuality. It's like if you get the ball out, snaps half a second too late. Now when you put the ball out, it's hitting him straight in the shoulder rather than hitting him in the chest where you're supposed to get him right in the belly. He's supposed to come down straight on it like that. Instead, you're clipping his elbow because you're too late. There's got to be something that you have in there. And it could just be a freak accident. It was disappointing to see. I've got a feeling that our center, his nerves are on. He admitted one on the field goal where they were trying to get Bucky the ball, and then Bucky gets blown up. And I think the reason being is the snap didn't either come off cleanly or it was delayed, which forced them to hand off the ball as quickly as they physically could, and it just became a bit of a mess. And
as an offensive coordinator person mindset, I'm gonna tell you this right now, Slick. That was some dog shit. That was fucking stupid. That was dumb as hell. Why? Because that's a play, in my opinion, where it's too much. The variables, the probability of it going wrong is too high for my taste. Hell, you know what I would have done if you had to have McMillan run in motion? He should have been setting up the block for Bucky Irvin or the running back. The run game was getting going, as you said. Bucky Irvin was making shit happen. That's all you needed to do. And it was because it was a first down, Slick, and we were way in our back in our red zone. Get out of the fire first. That's my mindset. Get out of the fire first. And then you could do that. That play would have been good if we were, put it this way. Let's say if that same fumbles happened, Slick, but we're at the 50-yard line. You see how that at least gives the Bucs defense to at least try to just hold them to a field goal or possibly get a 4 or 3 and out. But the simple fact that Cohen overthought it, we've seen that sometimes this season, Slick, where he overthinks certain things. Another one, like you said, that was Graham Barton's fault when he botched it. But why did you have that kind of fucking play in your arsenal when you have all this talent? Where was some more rollouts? And if they're going to blow up the middle, that's where Otten, in my opinion, he does a quick block and release, a quick bump and then run and catch it. So Cohen was not perfect in those games. And in this game, he overthought. But this still goes back on Bowles. That fucking 4th and inches, I knew we lost Slick when we kicked the field goal. I said, we don't want to win. I knew at that moment the game was over. People was like, AJ, no, the defense. I said, that fucking defense that we just saw, all night, you shouldn't have went for it. Mike Evans. First of all, wait a minute, Slick. This is the same guy who did this. That's sexy. And then this man was looking like this all night, and I loved it.
Right, I'm going to jump through my goods and bads for the offense. I've got to go to bed at some point, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Wasn't it nice though to see Mike Evans take his niece out to the field?
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I was gutted we didn't get away with the win, because it was like the ultimate. You know, that's the cherry on top was Mike had a stellar game, and I think he would have got more yards if we had more time on the ball.
Yeah,
but it's not to be. So I've got 2nd and 7. Jalen McMillan failed third down conversion on an out route. I think that was just a poor throw. He threw too early. Didn't get his body around. I don't know if that's the route or it was a bit of both, or the throw just being too early. And then thrown into triple coverage, literally the next play to J-Mac. Yeah. That was a stupid play. I'll give him this. There was nobody else open. There was nobody fucking open, because they all ran verts. Everyone ran vertical routes, which I don't like, because I always think that's too easy to defend. Everyone's just got to go backwards. I don't like it. Flag for defensive offside. These are the good things that happened. We got a 5-yard penalty. Put it down to 4th and 2. Should we have gone for it? Absolutely. And that's the one that we ended up going for the field goal to start the game. Third down, 15-yard penalty, chop block. That's a drive killer. Anytime you've got a stupid penalty like that. Mike Evans' touchdown was the good spot. I got 5-yard false start. Too many players on the field. That shit's got to get fucking sorted. Stuff like that pisses me off. You've got to have some. I have a rule, the simplest rule in the world. So when my guys go onto the field, you tag someone out to tag yourself in. It means you make contact with the person that you're replacing or going to replace. That way they know they're out, because they've basically been physically told, hey man, you're out. Okay, cool. But I don't know why no one does it. Touchdown, Bucky Irvin. Happy with that one. Baker Mayfield fumbled too late. Who messed it up? We don't know. Obviously, Baker's going to take a lot of flack, and he will put that flack on himself as well. So, and then I've got the third and 1 at the Washington 12. The snap that the Bucky Irvin took, the handoff that Bucky Irvin took, he got blown up in the end. And then one play I didn't like was the designed Baker Mayfield run.
I didn't like it either.
I've never seen him run a ball with a designed run. He's very good off the cuff, and
he's a scrambler.
Yeah. He's not a guy who you're gonna, we're gonna run like triple option with him. Fuck that shit. Like,
I like that. Fuck that shit. Say it again, Slinky. Say, fuck that shit.
He's not built. He's not built that way. He's just.
He's not Mahomes or Jay. He's not Jay Daniels.
When you run off schedule, you're able to get yards because you catch people off guard. When you run and you have intent to run, you just read it and go to follow the guy with the ball. It's the same as a fucking running back. You just get a head start because you don't have to hand it off. That's the only difference.
And he doesn't know how.
But you're not as fast and nowhere near as physical.
Yeah, you're not, and you don't have those angles neither, because, like you said, as a running back, you're supposed to know how to hit a certain angle in a run.
And
like
that's hard.
That's why we'll also see some speed backs. They'll jump out and like move back in because they have the speed. Yes, you're right. But the 4th and inches is what destroyed me, because at that point you didn't want to win. You got all these weapons. Bowles. That is Bowles, not Cohen, because I said
you got Baker Mayfield who gets yards. He could just fall over and get it.
Facts. But again, this all goes back to the Commander-in-Chief Bowles, because do you want to go and win, or do you want to beat Marshawn? Because this is what he said. I didn't say this about him. This is what he was thinking. And at this point, Bowles, that's what you did to this team. And to this point, I'm gonna be real. Slick, to me, this was a wash season because we regressed. We regressed.
Oh yeah, I feel we regressed for sure.
We regressed.
I think
and
defensively, offensively, we've obviously stepped it the fuck up.
Oh yeah. But as a team, because we didn't get past the first round of the playoffs, this was a fucking wash. How did we get to where we got last year and gave a better fight? Mind you, this year we were offensively in the elite status, and yet we fall apart because of that simple Simon ass defense. And at this point, again, Buck fans, I'm going to leave this to you because I know Coach Slick got to wrap it up. But again, Bucs fans, what is keeping Bowles here instead of wanting him to be fired? What do you see to keep Bowles here for? That's all we want. What makes you want to keep Bowles rather than fire him? Answer that question. I will leave the floor to you, Slick. You get your last words in.
All right, man. I'll catch you soon, brother.
All right, man. You take care. And as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Bucs, my man.
I'll see you soon, brother. So, guys, for me, my personal thoughts on this is I'll keep Bowles as long as I can keep Cohen. Because I get to have a better look at Cohen for another year. And this would be, for me, Coach Bowles' last chance to loom. I need to see more. This was not good enough. The cushion coverage is part of it. Accountability. When players have had bad days and the public and everyone knows that they've had a bad day, it's okay to say that they had a bad day. It's okay to say that you got shit to fix. He needs to be better. I need to see that. It's about bucking time this team decided to go on a big upwards trend and to say, fuck everybody, because settling, I love winning the division. I love going to the playoffs, but we need to see more. This is a team on an upward trend. We can't be standing still because that's where we are now. We are just standing still. And we dropped a little bit this year. We dropped a little bit. It's disappointing to see. Yes, I believe that if you can get the Buccaneers a solid pass rusher, and a linebacker and another corner, I believe those could be the pieces that could really set this defense off into another stratosphere, especially if you can go down the route of a safety as well in free agency. That's just me. But things have got to change. Disappointed to hear that he thinks everyone should stay the same, despite saying that coaching's a problem. They need to be better at coaching. We need to be better at coaching, but we're not going to get rid of any coaches. Okay. But on that note, guys, it's almost 2:30 in the morning for me. I need to go to bed. And I appreciate everyone that has watching the show and all the commenters. This is going to suck, guys. We have to watch other people in the playoffs when we feel like it should be us. I'm glad we're past the silver lining. The only silver lining is that Mike Evans got 1,000 yards. We're now got 1,000 yards and we're going to the playoffs and winning divisions. That's great. But I need to climb higher. We all do. And we all deserve it. We've got the squad. We're just going to add a few bit pieces and the coaching's got to be right. We can't afford to play that bullshit coverage. That coverage will kill us. And it has. It will kill us and we need to be more game aware. You can use that coverage in certain situations. There are certain situations you do not use it in. Goal, like fucking red zone? Nah, man. Not unless you got someone going underneath. On that note, Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!